Hello and welcome. This is the Public Procurement and Disposal of Assets Authority PPDA levy. In this presentation, we'll be looking at the background, sources of funding for the PPDA, application of the PPDA levy, how the PPDA levy will be collected, illustration of levy calculation on a price schedule, benefits of paying the PPDA levy, enhancing compliance and sanctions for non-compliance. By the end of this session, we should all be able to understand the basis for PPDA levy, explain the benefits of remitting PPDA levy, and calculate and remit PPDA levy. Just a bit of a background. The PPDA was established under Section 4 of the PPD Act of 2017 with the mandate to regulate, monitor, and oversee all procurement and disposal of assets activities throughout Malawi. It is a body corporate with perpetual succession and a common seal. It is capable of doing or performing all such acts and things as bodies corporate may, by law, do or perform. There are several sources of funding for the PPDA. Section 16 of the PPD Act mandates the PPDA to collect funds through 1. Advances made to the authority under Section 18. 2. Fees, levies, and other monies payable to the authority. 3. Fines payable to the authority in respect to breaches of the Act. 4. Grants or donations received by the authority. 5. Such sums as shall be appropriated to the authority by Parliament. And finally, proceeds from the sale by the authority of any of its assets or equipment to which it has title. Now, moving on to the application of the levy. PPDA levy is the amount of money that will be deducted on all procurement contracts for supply goods, services, and works. This levy shall not be applied on consumables and utilities. Consumables in this case shall include things like fuel, lubricants, stationery, computer accessories, groceries, and sundries, while utilities shall include things like water, electricity, internet services, and airtime. This levy is applicable to all public institutions and donor-funded projects that follow country procurement systems. 1% levy has been approved to be the deductible amount. This is how the levy will be collected. PPDA levy is paid by the PDE and is simply reflected in the supplier's invoice to facilitate payment. For procurements paid through the central payment system, the levy will be deducted from the source, which is the procuring and disposing entity, channeled to the PPDA through a code to be assigned by the Accountant General. For MDAs, which do not pay through the central payment system, such as statutory corporations like Lilongwe Water Board, ESCOM, Egenco, the PDE will remit the levy amount directly into PPDA bank account. Let's take a look at the diagrammatic flow of the levy collection. So basically, here's how the PPDA levy payment works. The supplier brings goods and supplies services to a public institution. Once the goods are received, ideally, the public institution prepares payment vouchers to facilitate payment to the supplier or the service provider. If it is the central government institution or a ministry, the payment voucher goes to the Accountant General. The Accountant General, through a PPDA levy code, will deduct the amount payable to PPDA and issues the payment to PPDA account, which is held at a commercial bank. If the public institution does not make its payment through the Accountant General, for example, if it's a statutory corporation who have their own payment system, they then deduct what is payable to PPDA and then deposit it directly to a commercial bank. The PPDA and the National Audit Office will conduct compliance checks on the public institution to see if they are remitting their PDA levies accordingly. Here's an illustration of levy calculation on a price schedule. A supplier will be expected to make calculations of 1% PPDA levy in his price schedule or in his invoice. A sample price schedule is provided. Once an invoice has been received, the person responsible for processing payments will then issue a PPDA levy certificate and also complete the monthly levy return. The levy is payable to PPDA by the 14th of the succeeding month after payment. The benefits of implementing the PPDA levy can be seen in the overall improvement in public procurement and disposal functions by intensifying capacity building and trainings of procurement professionals, increasing number of complaints handled and hearing of administrative reviews, improving oversight functions of the PPDA through the continuous procurement post-reviews, implementation of electronic systems such as e-procurement, supplier online registration, PPDA website, which results in efficient processes, and finally, corporate social responsibility. Moving on to enhancing compliance. Strategic alliances will be formed with the National Audit Office, Central Internal Audit, and private audit firms to ensure compliance with this provision of the PPD Act. The PPDA internal audit function will also conduct periodic compliance assessment in all MDAs. There are sanctions for non-compliance. A person guilty of an offense under subsection 1, whose penalty has not been prescribed, shall be liable to a fine not less than 500,000 Malawi kwacha, but not exceeding 5 million Malawi kwacha, or in case of an individual, to imprisonment for 5 years and to such fine. In conclusion, deduction and remittance of the levies to PPDA will not only facilitate in the implementation of the PPD Act, but will also be beneficial to the country as a whole. Collaboration between the key stakeholders will be of paramount importance to ensure that PDEs are compliant with the law and the benefits derived from the levies will be enjoyed by the PDE's suppliers and the general public through improved public procurement and disposal functions, which will lead to achievement of value for money in public procurement and disposal of assets. Thank you very much.